might just get started. Good afternoon, all. On behalf of Eastern Melbourne PHN and Diabetes Victoria, I wish to welcome everyone to today's session on the Quality Improvement Activity Life program. My name is Nicole Stark, and I am the Events and Education Coordinator at MFIN. Also with me from MFIN from the Digital Health team is Angela Heathcote, Program Facilitator, Barb Repkin, Program Specialist, and Tom Perry, Program Facilitator. And from the GP Engagement team, we have Julie Alardis, Program Facilitator. I would like to kick things off with an acknowledgement of country and recognition of lived experience. Eastern Melbourne PHN acknowledges the Wurundjeri people and other peoples of the Kulin nations on whose unceded lands our work in the community takes place. We pay our respects to Aboriginal and Torres Strait Islander cultures and to elders past and present. MFIN is committed to the healing of country, working towards equity in health outcomes and the ongoing journey of reconciliation. We recognise and value the knowledge and wisdom of people with lived experience, their supporters, and the practitioners who work with them, and celebrate their strength and resilience in facing the challenges associated with recovery. We acknowledge the important contribution that they make to the development and delivery of health and community services in our catchment. Some quick housekeeping. All attendees will remain on mute throughout the presentation. Please type any questions for our speakers into the Q&A box at the bottom of the screen, and these will be answered at the end of the presentation. A little bit about Eastern Melbourne PHN. The Australian Government established primary health networks to increase the efficiency of medical services, reduce fragmentation of care, and improve health outcomes for everyone, especially for the most vulnerable. MFIN achieves this goal by improving access to existing services, commissioning services to improve health outcomes, and by supporting GPs and others to innovate and further improve local health care. We aim to improve the health of our community by ensuring people receive the right care in the right place at the right time. We thank you all in joining us for this valuable quality improvement activity. In this session, Certified Diabetes Educator Kim Welch will discuss engaging patients into their health using financial incentives to run preventative activities, tools to identify patients at risk, and the right language to motivate patients into a lifestyle modification program. Participants will receive live program resources, Polar and Walrus data tool walkthroughs to identify eligible patients, and quality improvement activity resources to support you and your practice team with integrating this program into your general practice. I'd now like to introduce our fabulous speaker. We have Kim Welch, who is a dedicated registered nurse, a credentialed diabetes educator, and health coach. With a passion for diabetes education and health optimization, Kim empowers individuals towards better health outcomes. She provides tailored support, tools, and resources to enhance quality of life. Kim's client-centered approach and extensive expertise ensures compassionate care and lasting positive change. I will now pass the mic to Kim.
Kim, you just need to go off mute, please.
Thank you for the introduction. That was lovely. I'll just pop my screen up and we'll get started. Oops. Here we go. So I'm here to talk about the LIFE program, everyone, and we're going to learn about how to identify and engage eligible participants for the LIFE program and some tips on how to integrate these activities into your daily workflows. I'd just like to make an acknowledgement to the country, and I'm coming from Wadawurrung country today. So a little bit about the LIFE program. What it is, it's been funded by the Victorian Government and managed by Diabetes Victoria for about 15 years, a little bit longer. And it's the largest type 2 diabetes and cardiovascular program prevention program in Australia, and it's delivered all over Victoria via group courses and telephone health coaching. It's a great program in that it's delivered online or face-to-face. It's delivered in different language and also via telehealth as well. It's free, it's evidence-based, it's delivered by qualified health professionals, and it's there to support and motivate your patients to adopt the sustainable, healthy behaviours and a more healthy and a more active lifestyle to facilitate type 2 diabetes and cardiovascular risk reduction. So what does it cover? It looks at healthy eating, it looks at activity, it looks at sleep, it looks at mind and psychological health and communities and engagement. It's a fantastic program. Part of the program is it's delivered, as I said, in a group course or online, face-to-face, telephone health coaching. There is the Aboriginal Life Road to Good Health program, and there is COLD programs as well, which are delivered in Vietnamese, Arabic and Chinese language. Part of the program is having an introductory session once we get a referral sent through. And the introductory session is my favourite part of the program. It takes about an hour, and it's a chance to really engage with the people or the participant and find out what's going on with their lifestyle and really get some goals that are centric to them. Okay, because everyone's lifestyle is very, very different. So while the program covers generic topics, that introductory session is a really good chance to hone in on people's goals and what's going on, and then they can pull ideas from the program that will fit into their lifestyle. So we have the first 4 sessions, which are fortnightly, and they cover things like fats and fibres, the plate model, how we eat across the day. We look at reading food labels, modifying recipes, looking at healthy eating goals and physical activity goals. And then we have an activity session. That's really talking about how we can get more movement, what we can put into our lifestyle to build on that activity. And again, people are going to be all starting from different points. So someone may be doing not any exercise at all because they're caught up and they're too busy. So we might go, well, okay, 10 minutes. Can we fit 10 minutes a day of activity in where we can schedule some time? You're out for 10 minutes, you get your heart rate up. And if you're doing 10 minutes a day, that's 70 minutes a week of activity that you previously weren't doing. So it's really trying to individualize things. Someone else might be doing, soccer training 3 times a week and but sitting at work for hours and hours on end. So it might be more focusing on them getting up and down more often. So we really do try and individualize things for people. We have a 6-month check-in, and that's again to see how people are going, look at what barriers have come up for people. So it's like getting into that really good long-term follow-up and troubleshooting any setbacks and maybe refocusing people a little bit too, because you can get a little bit off track when a period of time's passed by. 12-month session, so a bit longer break in between, but again, we've got information and online logins for people to keep getting that further support and keep having access to reading materials coming through. And then we catch up at that 12 months and see how people are going again. So people are kept fairly well engaged across the whole 12 months. As I've said before, we've got mainstream program, Arabic, Chinese, Vietnamese, and these can be done online or face-to-face. They can be done on weekends, Saturdays, Sundays. They can be done in the evenings or during the day, depending what suits particular participants. And then we have a gestational diabetes pilot that's on at the moment and a gestational diabetes Vietnamese pilot, and they're both online. Again, during the day, during weeknights and on weekends. So there's a lot of flexibility with time for people. The telephone health coaching streams, we've got mainstream, and again, that's set up at times that suit people for the phone calls. And we've got a Chinese pilot telephone health coaching stream going on at the moment as well. Criteria. So I won't go into detail of all the criteria, but there's 3 main A, B, C, as you can see. I'll more check in here with exclusion criteria. So the LIFE program, it's not for people who have type 1 or type 2 diabetes. We're trying to prevent chronic disease, particularly type 2, cardiovascular disease and stroke. So if you've had any cardiovascular disease within the last 3 months, then you're not eligible. But after 3 months, you certainly are. if you have clinical active cancer or pregnant at this point in time. So that's the exclusion criteria. And then I guess you'll look into what stream fits best for the referral, which I'll go into a little bit further here. So we've got the criteria A, and that's doing the AUSD risk. I'm sure everyone's had access to the type 2 diabetes AUSD risk test in the past, and that's getting a score greater than 12 and then a BMI greater than 25. And you can do that with the type 2 diabetes health assessment or one of the health assessments that's available, and claim that. Then we've got eligibility criteria B, and that's doing a heart health check assessment. So looking at the absolute risk score. I notice a lot of clinics at the moment are doing calls via SMS to get people to come in and get their heart health checks done. So it's a great opportunity here to do your risk test and refer into the LIFE program as well. Then we've got criteria C, and that's with a pre-existing condition. And again, that can be done through your GP management care plans or team care arrangements, or you can use one of the item numbers with the GPs in place, or practice nurse item numbers. The great thing about this, one, you can use the MBS numbers, but you can also use LIFE funding as well, because we do pay an incentive referral to clinics, and I'll go through that shortly. So just with the practice referral process, we complete the referral form, which you can download into your software. So it's easy to access and pre-fill. You gather your patient consent, and I guess the primary aim of these programs are we're wanting to get people to understand baseline pathology. So getting people to get their regular cholesterol, glucose, vitamin D, and having a bit of an understanding of this pathology. I always say to people, you know how much money you've got in the bank, know what your general pathology figures are too. So then you can be a bit more active in watching those change, or those results coming back after 12 months can show what you've done to your lifestyle. Even if you haven't lost weight, it might be looking at, because you've increased fibre, your cholesterol's improved quite dramatically. So I really do try and get people focusing on those numbers. And it's good baseline data for clinics as well, getting those regular preventative healthcare checks in. So once that referral is faxed into the LIFE program at Diabetes Vic, they will contact your patient and let you know which program they're going into. And then, as I mentioned, when you're doing your health assessments or your GP care plans, you can also, once you do a referral to the LIFE program, you can gain a $20 plus GST funding for referring an eligible patient. And then once they've completed that first session of the LIFE program, there's another $25. Okay, so that's usually $45 extra on top of your fee that you're using to claim through Medicare. This is just a little graph to show some income that you can develop using the MBS numbers, and that's on 4 patients a day. So normally I'd say that would be in the morning, of some income that you can generate. And you can show this to your practice manager or your GP directors that, you know, running a practice nurse-led prevention clinic can be financially quite significant as well. Just a little bit more of a breakdown. So if you were doing an item 703, which is between 30 and 45 minutes, it's $151.80, and then you've got your LIFE incentive of $45. If you're doing 4 of those in a morning, we say it's around 2.5, 3 hours, there's $787. So that's not going to be sniffed at by your practice manager or your GPs. You've got the heart health checks, 20 minutes for $80, again the $45. And if you're doing 4 of these in a morning clinic, there's $500 for an hour and 20 minutes time. The GP management plan, again, $158.80, and adding on the LIFE incentive for 4 of those, there's $816, and adding on your team care arrangements as well, that's $1,319. So a good amount of income's been generated there. And then you've got your team care arrangement reviews for $814 if you're doing 4 of those with the LIFE incentive. So that's some good figures to show to your practice manager. And it's a good base to even employ an extra nurse to be running a prevention health clinic with those sorts of figures. So I guess once you've spoken to your clinic and made that decision to get more of a prevention clinic going and referring into the LIFE program, then you need to be able to look at how you can identify the patients in your practice. And that's where Barb will be talking more about this after I've finished speaking on Polar Walrus and the great things it can do to pull data and notify you when these people are coming into the clinics and do SMS notifications for different healthcare items to get people to come in. But Barb will cover that in detail. One of the big things I have when I speak to people is when they're doing their screenings and trying to refer into lifestyle modification programs is trying to get people to give up some time to attend a program. And I guess that's one reason why we're so flexible on our times, and whether it's face-to-face or online or on weekends or during the week, is we want to give people opportunity to access the program. So there's lots of points to access and lots of different times. So that's helpful. But I guess when you are doing a health assessment, one of the big challenges are motivating and engaging people to get to a program, because most people these days are really time poor. And I guess mostly no one's unmotivated to live a long and healthy life, but the problem is the barriers can often outweigh the benefits. And the underlying theme of most of these barriers is the lack of perceived benefits. So I guess what we have to do is get people looking at not what's going on around immediately, but try and look into what's going to be happening in 10 or 15 years. What I do now for my health is going to give me that freedom in 10 or 15 years' time when I really want my freedom. So it is trying to bring that to the forefront and getting people to think about that. I guess the biggest thing too is usually a third of people are ready to do a program or ready to make changes to their lifestyle. A third of people will think about it, and a third of people just won't be ready. But the more we continue talking to those people, the more they will become ready over time. So we've got to look at our motivation skills, and I guess the benefits of preventing a chronic disease are over the long term, but the barriers are in the short term. We're competing with the busy lifestyles, work, kids, pets, mental health, having a life, family, money. Everyone's responding to this short term. So it's acknowledging all these short term issues that are floating around everyone and saying, well, how can we drag in a bit of time to focus on that long term? And I often say to people, when you save for a house or save for a holiday, it's not there immediate, it's not in front of you. You've got to chip away at making changes to get that deposit. So similarly with your health, it's making those changes over time, getting the knowledge and the support systems in place. There's a great ad by Canada. It was done a few years ago, but I always show it to people in my groups, and it's a gentleman. He's probably in his early 70s, and it's him living two lives. There's one lifestyle where he's invested in his health, and he's pulling up a tie and going off dancing with his wife, and the grandkids are running around, and in the daytime you see him jumping on a bike and going off for a bike ride. In another life where he hasn't put that investment into his health, instead of doing up his tie, he's doing up his oxygen around his neck. He's getting someone to help put his slippers on, and he's shuffling around the hospital. And it's two quite different scenarios from different choices made around earlier in life. And I think it's really good to bring that to the forefront for people and help them not just respond to that short term. One of the big things too is changing our talk. So I don't know how many people I have come to me and say, my doctor told me to lose 30 kilos. 30 kilos is like putting a mountain in front of somebody who's already really busy. It doesn't work. We've got to be able to say to people, we want to focus on 5 to 10% weight loss. There is evidence that supports that 5 to 10% weight loss over six months will reduce that risk of chronic disease and give you your freedom. So it's really focusing on that. We've got to get people focusing on weight management is about our health gains, much more than it is about weight loss. Because people go, it's weight loss. Let's think about gaining nutrients, gaining quality fuel for the day. So instead of people being focused on weight to be healthy, you have to instead think about getting healthy in order to lose weight. Okay. In the context of that conversation, there is so much more to gain from eating more nutritious foods and living a more physically active life. So I guess what we're trying to get people to do is find targets that are possible, but not perfect. All right. We've got to change our talk. We've got to stop stopping people. Don't do this, don't eat that. Because as soon as you start telling people what to do, they close up. They don't want to hear anything further. We've got to have that conversation. We can look at what's the problem with diets. And I guess we know the big thing that happens when people go onto strict diets is they may lose a lot of weight quickly, but it's unsustainable over the long term because people are seeing everyone out eating, going to barbecues, doing this, but if you're on a restrictive diet, it doesn't really play out to that. So we've got to give people support to make healthier choices, but still be enjoying life as it goes on as well. So it's achievable over the long term and they're not feeling like they're missing out. So we've got to starting people and start them on actions that are time-based, realistic, have some support and focus on what they can achieve. And that they can have, you know, treats here and there. That they can have a chocolate cake on the weekend or at a party or this or that. There's no strict rules and regulations. So asking people what they want. So compared to where you are at now, where would you like to be in the future? What do you think needs to help to change to get help to where you want to be? And how will you get there? And what could we do to support this? So if someone's saying, I'm tired all the time and I want more energy, we can look at quite a few things that are going on. So we're looking at the person holistically. We can look at sleep quality and health, look at their hygiene and their habits going on there. We can look at sleep studies. We can look at their pathology. So looking at their iron and vitamin D and glucose levels, they may be out of whack. We can look at how their day is fueled, in particular across the day, because a lot of people will go, I'm tired, so they have some high GI drink or food and they get a big spike up and they feel like they get some energy, then it crashes back down and then they have something else, high GI, spikes back up and you get this spiking behavior and get this insulin response, which is creating more hunger and instability. So what we want to do is try and get people eating well across the day so they get this nice good release of glucose that's fueling them really well and stopping these hunger spikes happening all the time. So that might mean, well, do they need dietary support? I think the key thing is don't just try and solve the problem if the iron's low by putting up an iron infusion, because that's not going to solve the problem over the long term. Let's look at people's whole health and how they're eating, sleeping, how their activity levels are. Again, if we're building in more physical activity, we're growing more red blood cells, and if we have more red blood cells, we have more oxygen to our body, which increases up our energy levels. So there's lots of little areas that can make little differences that all add up. And that's part of what going to a lifestyle modification program can offer, because it gives you those health professionals that have that expertise to really get that information across and have that time to do that as well. Yeah. So I guess the main key thing is keep engaging people. As I said earlier, a third are ready, a third are thinking about it, and a third are not ready. But the more we continue those conversations, and even if it's over a period of years, we're eventually going to engage more and more people to invest in their health over the long term. Think about asking that question or talking about what we do now to invest in our future health can give us the freedom and choices later in life. And I know when I retire, I want to be able to go body surfing and riding my paddleboard, not be stuck in a chronic disease clinic. So ask what people want. So what they see their freedom in their future looking like. And the other key thing is that language again. So the programs are giving you the knowledge and the tools to make changes to fit in with your own personal circumstances. It's not a diet that you follow. It's individualizing it and pulling the information that's going to work for you. It's building on supportive change over time, and the focus is on health and disease prevention, on nutrients and better energy levels, not diets and strict weight loss, which they always eventually fail. The research shows that clearly. And that's it. Hopefully I didn't talk too fast then and shoot through it too quickly, but I'll hand over to Barb now for her part of the presentation, and Angela. Thank you.
Fabulous. Thanks, Kim. I'm just going to share my screen. So thank you so much, Kim, for that presentation. Barb and I are now going to put together those activities to help you support you with integrating the LIFE program into your practice. And before I go into that, I just wanted to share with you some of the fabulous outcome and the results from this lifestyle modification program that have been achieved. So we can see on screen here that 65% or over 65% of participants reported making positive changes to diet. Over 62% of participants report making positive changes to physical activity, and over 97% of LIFE participants rated the program as very good and excellent. So if you'd like to look further into the evaluation and evidence of this program to help support you with your decision with referring patients through to the program, please refer to the link that's available on this screen here. To support you with your practice team and yourself with integrating the LIFE program into your daily workflows, the digital health team at MFIN have developed a LIFE program quality improvement toolkit. And this toolkit goes through all the things that Kim has actually just spoken about in a succinct formula for you in 4 key steps. So looking at the first 2 steps, which is looking at how Walrus and Polar can actually assist you with identifying your eligible patients. Looking at the referral process and integrating that referral process into your clinical software, and also the training opportunity and resources available to your practice teams to help them with their engagement and also their referral processes. So I'm going to pass over to Barb now, who's going to go through the first step, which is looking at Walrus and Polar.
Thanks, Ange. If you don't already have Walrus installed, you can contact us, a digital health team, digitalhealth@mfin.org.au, and we can support you to get that installed. But if you've already got it and you want to use the Walrus notifications to identify some eligible patients for the LIFE program, you need to go into Polar under that little management up the top that's got the red box around it, and select the user accounts that you want to enable the prompts for. But I will mention that you will need to have admin access to see the management at all. So it will be someone that has the admin level access to do that. So yeah, once you select the user, you'll see the notifications under the Walrus notifications tab up the top right-hand side, another red box around that. And you could just need to ensure that the LIFE risk notifications are ticked. And to see the notifications, the clinicians will need to have Walrus open, and the prompt will alert to eligible patients from the ambulance icon. And Tom has made us all a short video to demonstrate the prompt. So we'll just play that now. Thanks, Tom.
For those of you who have not seen or heard of Walrus, Walrus is a point-of-care prompting tool. It is available free of cost for all practices who have Polar installed and are using either Best Practice or Medical Director. A new update for Walrus now includes notifications for the LIFE program run by Diabetes Victoria. The prompts for the 3 risk criteria will be displayed under the ambulance icon for Risk Clinical. In this example, you will notice that the risk icon has a red triangle in the top left corner. The triangle will show either low, medium, high or urgent risk, and these will be indicated by colours green, yellow, orange or red. By clicking on the ambulance icon, we are able to see the prompts. In this example, we will notice that the CVD risk at risk prompt is red, and this is what is triggering the red triangle on the ambulance icon. Looking down the list, we can see that the LIFE risk criteria A prompt is displaying and is showing a medium risk with an orange square. As this patient is eligible For life risk criteria A, which is being displayed in the prompts, criteria B and C will not be displayed for this patient. To the right of the life risk criteria notification, you'll see 3 boxes, being referral, URL, and pathology. The referral box will open the referral section of MD or BP. The URL box will open your internet browser onto the Life Program webpage for health professionals. And the pathology box will open the pathology request section of MD or BP. If you need any help, assistance, or further training with Walrus or Polar, please send us an email at digitalhealth@emphn.org.au and we will happily assist.
Thanks, Tom. There is another way of identifying patients using Polar. You have the option in the clinic summary report to run a search for eligible patients. All you need to do is what we always do, add the patient active filter and most likely the RACGP active patients filter as well. And on the patient filter on the left-hand side, you will see life criteria. If you have large cohorts, you may want to add some additional filters to prioritize your patients in a controlled way rather than a scattergun approach to it. So you can, as an example for that, you can add the Indigenous filter or some age filters. Just be mindful of sending out patient invitations in a slower way rather than all at once. And it is okay to send out emails with brochures as long as you BCC in your Outlook, so you don't breach any privacy laws there. And remember, the team at MFIN is here to help you. And Walrus, we've got some walkthroughs on both Walrus and Polar, which will be provided to all the attendees today. I'll hand back to Ange.
Thanks, Barb. So the next step, once you've considered the use of Walrus and Polar, is looking at how you can actually integrate the referral process into your clinical software. And that's by importing the Life Program referral template, which is available for best practice Medical Director, ZMed, and Genie users. So if you want the steps to actually do this, refer to the website link that we have here on this slide. It's really important to note, though, that do not open the GP referral templates until they have been imported into your clinical software, as it may corrupt the coding. So the steps are quite straightforward. So if you actually just refer to the web page, you do need to scroll down a little bit when you first click on it, but these steps are clearly outlined for you. Also, if you would like to provide a PDF printed off version for your doctors or your nurses to just have a review and a read through of what the referral form looks like, it also covers off all the 3 criteria. You could also use that as part of your resources that you can provide to your team. And the last step is looking at, obviously, the resources that are available for training. So apart from the fabulous information that Kim has provided to us today, APNA have a video series available, and one of those is actually on the Life Program. So you can actually watch that video there. All the printable resources on the Life Program website for health professionals. There's also a specific one for GPs. And as Barb mentioned around, if you're identifying cohorts of patients and sending out an email invitation, if you would like specific resources available to accompanying that correspondence, you can find these located via this link here. And as Kim has already highlighted, these resources are also available in different languages as well, depending on your cohort. So in summary, the things to consider when integrating this program into your practice is installing Walrus and updating the individual user settings to enable Life Program notifications, or using Polar to identify your eligible patients, importing the Life Program referral templates into your clinical software to streamline that referral process, provide the training and resources for your clinical team to give them all the information they need to make the referral process and the identification of patients streamlined. Obviously, reaching out to our digital health team, as Barb has already emphasised. Barb and Tom are both available for Walrus and Polar training, so please reach out via our inbox and we can set that time up with you. And after today's session, all participants will receive a copy of the Life Program Quality Improvement Toolkit, which will go through these steps in details, but also has the Walrus installation and user setting instructions. It has also the walkthroughs for these, the Life Program resources, and also some sample PDSAs. So I'm just wondering if there's any questions. I can't see any that have popped up in the chat at all. I don't think there's any questions. We'll just give a moment. If there are any questions, pop them in the Q&A. We do have a moment to have Kim answer any of these. But if nothing does pop up, what we can do, you can always reach out to our digital health team with specific questions, and I'm sure that Kim would be happy to help follow those up with us at a later time. So I'm just double checking there's no more. The questions that popped up, Barb? No. So I'm
No.
going to pass over to you, Nicole, to close. Thanks, Nicole.
Thank you. Okay. Firstly, I'd like to thank you all for being a part of today's session. It has been an absolute pleasure to have you all here. I hope you've taken away some valuable insights, and I'd also like to extend a special thank you to our exceptional presenters for their fabulous work. At the end of this session, a link to the workshop survey will appear on your screen. Please do take a moment to fill that out so we can further improve these education sessions. Your responses are greatly appreciated. Please also take a moment to check out other upcoming MFIN education events by scanning the QR code on your screen. It will take you directly to our events page on MFIN where you'll be able to find out more information. There will be a follow-up email that everyone will receive, which will include a copy of the presentations you've seen today, in addition to other relevant resources. You'll also receive your certificate within the next 4 weeks of this session from MFIN. Thank you all for your time and your attention today. That is all from us, and enjoy the rest of your day. Thank you all. Bye.